1.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to call this meeting on October 26th of the Sacramento Regional Transit District Board of Directors to order. Madam Clerk, please call the directors to order.
Director Budge?
Here.
Director Harris?
Here.
Director Howell, I'm trying to connect here shortly. Director Hume? Director Jennings?
Here.
Director Kennedy? Director Kennedy?
He was here.
Director Kennedy?
He was
He
here.
shows up in my participant list.
He was
He
here.
shows up in my, I'll call him at the end.
He was here.
I'll call him at the end.
He was here.
I'll call him at the end.
He was here.
I'll call him at the end. Director Kennedy, are you there? Director Kennedy, are you there? Director Kennedy, are you there? Thank you. Director Natoli? Thank you. Director Chenier? Director Cerna?
Here.
Director Cerna? Director Miller?
Here.
Director Cerna? Chair Hansen?
Here.
Right now we have a quorum at 91 votes, and I will get Director Howell connected here shortly. Welcome to the Sacramento Regional Transit District Board meeting. Meetings are streamed live on Sac Rt's website and are streamed live under About Sac Rt and Board documents. This meeting of the Sacramento Regional Transit District will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse. Today's meeting will air on Wednesday, October 28th at 6 o'clock p.m. and Friday, October 30th at 6 o'clock p.m. on Channel 14 and webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. It is also closed captioned.
Madam Clerk, will you put the flag up? And in honor of Monday Night Football, and in honor of former Raiders player, I would ask Director Jennings to lead us in the pledge. Director Jennings to lead us in the pledge. Director Jennings to lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, Republic of America, which stands one nation, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Director Jennings. That was lovely. Thank you, Director Jennings. That was lovely. All right, Madam Clerk, do you want to call the first item? All right, Madam Clerk, do you want to call the first item? All right, Madam Clerk, do you want to call the first item?
Certainly. The first item is the consent calendar. Items 2 through 1 through 2 through 14. And I have public comment on item 2.3 and 2.10.
Okay, let's take the public comment first, and then we'll ask directors if there's any items they would like to have first, and then we'll ask directors if there's any items they would like to have.
Item 2.3, which is delegating authority to the general manager to award a contract for the completion of the Morrison Creek Light Rail Station to Squire Stock Enterprise DBA Pro Builder. A comment from Helen O'Connor. She wants to make sure that the Morrison Creek Station is floor ready and accessible. And then on item 2.10, which is delegating authority to the general manager CEO to execute fiscal year 2021 Caltrans Sustainable Communities Planning Grant, Sacramento Regional Transit Bus Stop Improvement Plan. Her comment is that bus stops should all be wheelchair accessible and should be reviewed. And those are her comments.
All right, do any members wish to pull items from the consent calendar? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Move approval of items 2.1 through 2.14.
We have a motion from Director Budge. Second. Motion from Director Budge. A second by Director Jennings. Okay, any further comments from directors before we vote? Madam Clerk, let's do a roll call vote.
Director Budge?
Yes.
Director Harris?
Aye.
Yes.
Director Howell?
Yes.
Director Hume?
Yes.
Aye.
Director Jennings?
Aye.
Aye.
Director Kennedy.
Aye.
Aye.
Director Natoli.
Aye.
Director Chenier.
Aye.
Director Cerner.
Aye.
Director Miller.
Aye.
Chair Hansen.
Aye.
Motion carries at 91 votes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item.
Next item is item 4.1. Resolution approving the job description for the position general counsel and changing the reporting structure as authorized under California Public Utilities Code Section 102.160. And here to present is Olga Sanchez Ochoa.
Thank you. Welcome, Olga. Olga. Thank you. Welcome, Olga.
Good evening,
Olga.
board,
Thank you.
chair.
Welcome, Olga.
This item, I was aware, this item, I was just to bring it to the board, and it is a change in the way the general counsel position is currently structured. Currently, the general counsel is selected by the board of directors, to the board of directors. The position would work in tandem with the general manager to help the general manager.
Sorry, we're getting an echo from someone. Sorry, we're getting. Can you just please mute your? Yeah, thank you. Sorry, we're getting. Can you just please mute your? Yeah, thank you. Sorry, we're getting. Can you just please mute your?
The general manager and work with the general manager and push forward all of the general manager and board's initiatives, as well as report directly to the board, as well as director directly to the
Yeah, why don't I just add a few comments? The board a couple years ago changed the structure to the structure we currently are under from one that is dissimilar actually from the one that's being recommended. Over the course of the last year, there have been a few things that caused us to relook at it, given the reporting structure and some of the obligations of the board to oversee and manage the organization from a fiduciary and legal standpoint. And so I worked with Olga based on some of those conversations with the board members. And what we did was we took the best of the current position, we took the best of the former position and tried to intermingle them. Having the general counsel really be a partner to the CEO and the management team. And you'll see there's an org chart in here that has a dotted line to the CEO or the general manager. And it's to ensure that the board from a fiduciary and oversight position has clear lines of authority to the general counsel, which performs some important compliance and oversight tasks, but that the position is essentially a member of the management team still, that is a supportive partner and collaborative partner to the board, the general manager, and the GMT or EMT, sorry. And so that's what's before us. This is a very common structure, and this is a structure that many of us are familiar with. So I'd be happy to. I'll make a motion just to get us started to approve the item, and then I'll turn it over to the rest of the board for comments and or questions. Assuming we have no public comment, Madam Clerk.
I do not.
Okay.
So Steve, I'd be happy to second it because this is the framework of the executive team that I'm used to. And I have seen it work very effectively both at the Cordova Recreation and Park District, as well as in the city of Rancho Cordova. And I do personally support the concept.
Thank you, Director Budge, for your second and your comments. Anyone else before we go to a vote?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Natoli. Director Natoli, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I'm kind of curious beyond the, redrawing the line and the reporting requirement. How does this, what we did a couple of years ago was this dual reporting procedure, and obviously the org chart reflected that. But if I understood correctly, that the legal services, then the folks that were entrusted with that responsibility beyond Olga, there's obviously other attorneys that work, at the agency. So does this pull them all back into one office? And because as I understand it now, they've been assigned to different either departments or different elements of the organization to, work on, various aspects of whether it's procurement or, funding or other, other legal service providers. So I guess I'm curious, Olga, for you and, maybe even for general manager, but as to how the functionality beyond what's shown on the chart here, because I hear about collaboration and cooperation and so forth, I want to be clear about what it means to all the attorneys who are either within the agency and or be consolidated, and how that function may or may not differ from what we currently have in place, they have had now for a couple of years.
So I might take a first crack at that. And one thing I just remind the board and the public is we haven't selected the person yet to fill this role. So I know that while Olga has done an admirable and very good job in the current role she has, that will be an item for closed session discussion about appointment and process. So to the extent that assuming we pass this, I think Director Natoli, the impulse and certainly the direction from the job description is to continue the integrated work that those attorneys do. But because the legal function is a very specific expertise, that they would collaborate with the general counsel, and the general counsel would have a duty to oversee their work product and ensure that they're meeting the deadlines and the other issues related to their work. And that I don't see a big change in the organizational structure based on the way this was specifically drafted to address that, except that legal responsibilities would be overseen by the general counsel, as they might be now. If an attorney has questions, they would turn to Olga, for instance, or they would turn to the person in this role for that oversight. Olga, do you want to try to address that?
Sure. So recently, one of the attorneys, we have a total of 3 attorneys at Regional Transit, myself, and then we have an attorney that oversees the risk function, and then we have an attorney that was in procurement. The attorney who was in procurement has recently been reassigned to legal, and she currently is reporting. That was done because I really needed a backup, and she and I have a lot of overlap in our areas of knowledge and our expertise. And so she came back and been reporting to me for about a month now. And that's been working great. And she's still primarily responsible for assisting the procurement department, but she has been taking on other duties and responsibilities as they've come up, because she is an extraordinarily bright attorney with a broad swath of knowledge. And so keeping her just doing procurement is kind of a waste of an absolutely essential asset that we have at Regional Transit. So with regard to the risk attorney, she still does not report to me. She and I don't work together. She works for the CFO. So there is that demarcation. I don't know if there will be a change in that, but at this time, I just work with the attorney that used to report to procurement and is now back in legal. That'll be up to you.
Yeah.
And so you want to
that's helpful. Yeah, helpful, I guess. So what's before us tonight, then, again, I certainly appreciate Chair's comments about we haven't made a decision about who would fill the role, but would this change that then, to your point, Olga? I mean, right now we have somebody that is embedded in the risk section. We had someone who was assigned through procurement, still doing some of that now. Now, who made that decision? Was that yours as lead attorney, or was that you and Henry collaborating? How did we get to that? And I guess I'm kind of curious about who would be responsible for that then.
Yeah, Henry and I had multiple discussions about that, and I pitched the idea to Henry, and we talked it over and went through various scenarios, and then ultimately Henry made the decision to go ahead and move her back into legal.
So let me just say, so I guess goes to kind of at least part of the essence of my question then. That determination will, if we restructure this in this fashion, will that lie solely with the lead counsel, or will that still be under either a dotted line or however you want to, again, how that manifests itself in actual, real life working? Is that still the general manager, council decision? I guess, I'm concerned that we're not going to go back and consolidate all of this by virtue of what we're doing here this evening. And I think it's important. I think the organization has functioned pretty well, with this, with I think this, collaborative approach. But I want to be clear about what will be the result beyond, what's being recommended here this evening. And again, not just current players, but obviously this would be, the standing procedure and description for both the job, but also, I guess, the assignment of tasks. So I don't know who wants to field that one, but I am curious.
Yeah, I might just add, Don, partially you'll look at the org chart that was included, and that was a request from a board member to add that. We're going from a dotted line to the board with a direct line to the general manager and flipping that. So those, and the way the job description was written was to emphasize a collaborative relationship with the general manager. So these two positions work in tandem. And so partially, I think even the question about the risk management attorney will be dependent on who we hire, assuming we pass this, and them working through the process with the board and general manager to determine the best structure. I don't think it's a automatic change, but I do think that the legal positions, being somebody who went to law school and passed the bar, it's important that there's a thread that connects them together, and the general counsel position would be that. So that's kind of why we addressed it that way, trying to take the best of what we used to have, the best of what we have now, and reconcile them into a modified structure.
Okay. Let me I have one other question, Mr. Chair, and this kind of goes to to help me understand what the current role is for the Chief of Legal Services with the executive management team versus, I think, what's called out for here, and kind of what that means to assignment of duties, but also, I guess, those areas where people will be responsible, and because I think we're calling out and said this person would be a part of the executive management team. Is legal services currently part of the executive management team?
Olga is a part of the executive management team. I think the only difference is that rather than the general manager hiring and firing the person, it would be the board, and then that person would be essentially a collaborator still in the executive management team, the EMT.
So you attend all those meetings, Olga?
Yes, I do. I am a functioning member of the EMT, and I attend the EMT meetings. I have one-on-ones with Henry, like the rest of the EMT members. So I am pretty much a partner on the EMT team and part of the team.
It just by way of clarification, what's the structure? So that includes the auditor, the EEO, and legal services on executive management, are all the directors of operations and so forth. What's the construct of that team?
No, the EMT are all the vice presidents. So it's all the VPs and then the general counsel.
Okay. All right, that's all I had. Thanks.
Thanks, Director Tolley. We have Director Hume, I think, next, and I see Director Miller, and we'll go after that. Director Hume.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted a clarification from you, because in the preamble to your motion, you mentioned that this is going back to a structure dissimilar than what we used to have. Can you clarify? Did I hear that right, first of all? And then if I did, can you clarify how this is dissimilar? Because it seems to me we're going back to the way things used to be.
So I think it's a spectrum. Where we used to be might be at one end of the spectrum, and where we are now is at the other. And what we're trying to do is take the best of both of those. Partially the duties we have as a board for oversight and compliance it's really important, and we've gone through some issues over the past months that have sort of brought the need into focus to clarify those duties into a general counsel role. But what we've tried to take from the current structure is the piece that is the person is and it's written into the job description, the person's a collaborator to the general manager, a partner, that there's communication, that they're a member of the E-team, that the board has expectations about working together. I would say, without going deeper into the past, that there was more conflict in the prior structure. And in order to adjust for that, we kind of created a structure that took the board out of some of the direct reporting for the general counsel, and it's caused us to have to do some things that are uncommon without going into detail. But so we've essentially just flipped the reporting lines while keeping the current job duties is the best I could describe it.
Okay, so I noticed, Olga, I saw you nodding your head at the chair's characterizations of the previous model. Would you agree that this is a hybrid system between the old model of direct report to the board versus the current model of selection by the GM?
Yeah, absolutely. There was I think it was more of a gatekeeper role, or at least that was, I definitely know, Mark Gilbert had that. He was the gatekeeper. So it was more conflict, little less collaboration. This role, I think this envisions a full integration of the position within the EMT, makes clear that there is an expectation of working to help management move everything forward and not just being a check. Does that make sense? And I think that previously that was more of the mentality of the chief counsel position. It was more of, canary in the coal mine kind of mentality.
Sure. Approved as to form, I think, is the legal terminology.
Well, that is, but that really doesn't mean gatekeeper, in my opinion. What that means as a lawyer is that the processes were followed to put it on the agenda, and not that the substance of it is to be argued with the EMT over. And that's some of what we were trying to get away from. And I think, Olga doesn't toot her own horn, but maybe Henry or others would like to. But what I've seen since we made the change, and some of it's personality driven, but some of it's also the duties and expectations, is that we have truly kind of gone back to what we wanted, which is a collaborative model. And this enshrines that in the job description in a way that wasn't present prior. Anything else, Director Hume? Okay, Director Miller, and then it looks like Director Harris is chomping at the bit.
I have a quick question on the employment status if we went to general counsel. Are we envisioning an employee or a contract person? I'm a little concerned if we went with employee as far as the responsibilities of the board to provide training, performance reviews, and heaven forbid discipline, and assigning the duties and overseeing that these. I think that's something that the general manager should be doing. So if we could answer that question, I have a couple of comments after that.
Olga, do you want to?
So, Director Miller, I did a survey of the attorneys who serve as general counsel to the various transit agencies throughout California. And the model that they all tend to use is a contract model. So it's similar to the relationship you have with the general manager as a board. There's a similar structure that's followed by most of the transit agencies in California. There was only one transit agency that didn't follow that of all the agencies that I talked to, and that was San Diego. But in San Diego, the general counsel is appointed by the general manager, and so they are an employee. And that is, she's the only one who doesn't have a contract, but the rest of the GCs I spoke with all have a contract. And then some of them have this hybrid where their position is statutorily dictated, but then they also have a contract. that's like PCA in Santa Clara.
So that's what you're recommending we do with this general counsel position?
Yeah, I think that would be most consistent with what other agencies do and probably easier to manage.
Well, Olga, your performance has been great over these past 2 years. I know we made some changes to go to Director of Legal Services because of some issues before. Things are working so well. I've got this, the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And one of my concerns is with the executive management team, creating an equity on there where you've got 2 board appointed people and then you've got your other vice presidents. So I'm a little concerned about that too. The going to outside counsel for help, it's not uncommon. We've had to do it on EEO cases and the like. So I like the way things are.
Director Harris.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm not sure why you think I was chomping on the bed. I didn't think I was making chewing sounds or anything. But
You leaned forward and opened your mouth, trying to get a word in edgewise, and that was it.
Good visual cues. So I'd actually like to ask our general manager, Henry, what this change obviously affects your job and the way you manage the organization. So, Henry, my question to you is, do you see this as a positive for your ability currently to manage RT moving forward? Does it affect you positively? Does it affect you negatively, or not at all?
When Chair Hansen asked me about this question, my answer to him is, I will, trust, follow the collective wisdom of this board. It's a governance, board. Whatever decision you guys make, I will do my best to follow that and implement that. And the real discussing on this, is really, for me to that's my only answer. I'm answering that to the chair. When chair asked me, hey, the board has this, initiative, but what is my response? I said, definitely, if it's a board, collective wisdom and decision, I will, support it.
Well, I understand that, Henry, and I would expect that from you, but it didn't answer my question about whether it's a help or a hindrance or very neutral for you as general manager. I mean, it does affect the way you will be conducting business to a certain extent, I would think. Well, I got mute out of that one. So, Steve, let me ask you a question.
Could I answer the last one? I think so. We worked a lot with Henry and Olga on this to make sure that it was more of a neutral. And there's probably a need to revisit this in a year if we pass it, just to make sure it's working. But we're trying to find the sweet spot, and it's a balancing act.
Well, maybe you can delineate for me a little more clearly, because it really didn't in the staff report. We made a change 2 years ago for reasons, and as Steve Miller said, things seem to be moving pretty smoothly. So I'm just wondering, what were the benefits of the system that we have now, and what will be the particular benefit moving to this hybrid system? I think you've delineated that a little bit, but we did make the change. And then if you want to review in a year, it feels like we're just doing a ping pong ball with the general counsel. I don't want to change again and go back again if we don't like it in a year. I mean, there has to be some real solid reasons to make this change. I'm not sure I can actually ascertain what they are just yet.
Thanks, Director Harris. I think partially the hybrid here is meant to ensure that the board's oversight of compliance and other issues has got that direct line. The dotted line that's present on the chart is to preserve the current structure. And that's probably the most significant change, to ensure that the board sort of has unfettered access in that the general counsel is overseeing the organization effectively, which is a very common structure. And there have been issues over the past year, and this board has talked about them in closed session and other places. And this recommendation was one that came out of those conversations. That's probably all I can say, given that we're in open session.
Okay, I'll turn it over to Linda then.
All right, Director Budge.
Thank you. So I didn't do that. So I want to speak directly to two of the comments that Steve Miller made. I don't disagree with the notion that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But perhaps I am personally comfortable with this because, as I said, this is the way our city is organized, and we always have been. So, number one, there has never been an issue with the structure of the management team. Our city attorney is an effective functioning part of the management team, which consists of the other directors of departments in the city and whoever else the city manager might want to pull in. But I can tell you that our city manager and our city attorney work together as peers with an atmosphere of mutual trust and mutual respect for the talents that the two of them bring to their respective positions. So again, he is an asset to the management team, not a hindrance. Secondly, the issue of the board conducting a performance review. Yes, our city council does a performance review for our city attorney, just the same way we do a performance review for our city manager. And it is exactly the same process at the beginning of whatever the review period is, whether it's a calendar year, a fiscal year, or whatever. City attorney looks at the goals for the coming year, and which have been mutually agreed upon by all the city staff and the city council. And
excuse me, Linda.
Bless you. And structures whatever his part is going to be in accomplishing those goals. And then at the end of the review period, then he is evaluated based on his ability to perform the goals that he outlined for himself within budget and on time, just like you would with a city manager. So that's just that's just kind of the practical details of the way in which the system could work.
Linda, who hires the attorney for your city?
Since we've had the same firm the entire time, and you know who they are because you did, exactly. So I suspect if we needed a new city attorney, then perhaps HR would put out a bulletin requesting proposal. We'd do an RFP just like anything else. And if we wanted to change attorneys.
Yeah, similar to what we did.
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? Otherwise, we'll just, we'll move to a vote. I know we have a pretty packed agenda after this. Director Hume, last word, hopefully.
Whether it's the last word or not, my curiosity is that does voting to approve the job description by default then change the reporting structure and codify that this is how we're going to go regardless of what happens in closed session?
Yes, approving the job description in the org chart changes that, but then we have to pick the person we want to fill that role on a interim basis. It's likely we have continuity, but the board has to make a decision about a final appointment, even an interim appointment, honestly. But that's a conversation for the closed session appointment.
Sure, understood. But an affirmative vote here does effectively change the reporting structure to the org chart in the, okay, staff.
That is the staff item, yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk.
Director Budge,
Yes.
Director Harris,
Sorry, I was on mute. No?
Director Howell,
No.
Director Hume,
No.
Director Jennings,
Yes.
Director Kennedy,
No.
Director Natoli,
No.
Director Chenier,
Jay, you were muted. Can you say that again? No, try again. Somebody keeps muting and unmuting you.
Director Chenier.
He put a thumbs up. There's some gremlin in the contraption.
Okay, an aye from Director Chenier. Director Cerna. Director Cerna is also muted. I will unmute you.
Cindy, you have managed to do what I've never been able to do.
Well, I can't mute him or unmute him, so. Director Cerna. We'll go back in a moment. Director Miller,
I'm sorry, no.
Director Cerna.
No.
Thank you.
What's wrong with this thing?
Okay, so with that, the motion.
And I vote aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chair Hansen. Thank you. Did you get that, Adam? I'm waiting for the tally to come up. Adam, the motion does not pass. The vote was 25 to 75.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item.
Next item is item number 6, public addresses the board on matters not on the agenda. And I have one comment from Mike Birnbaum. On Wednesday, October 14th, I had the opportunity to provide public transportation advocacy and consulting to the Sacramento Transportation Authority regarding the Smart Ride Services zones and future funding of said service. The board adopted Smart Ride amended service agreements, which included, but were not limited to, 1, combining Arden Arcade and Carmichael zone into one zone, with boundary changes that will include Kaiser Morse and American River College. 2, extending the Gerber zone northward to include Fruit Ridge Road in the Food Link and Old Depot Business Park area. And 3, potentially giving the go-ahead for a startup Smart Ride in the city of Elk Grove, among other action matters. It was mentioned that the overall Smart Ride funding is in the ballpark of $30 million and that staff and board opportunities will remain open and available to explore a South Sacramento East farm to future Smart Ride funding and operation zone as a priority. The rectangular zone would study 65th Street to the west, Folsom Boulevard on the north, and South Watt Avenue on the east, and Florin Road on the south. Many of the Sac Rt board members sit on the STA board and participated in the October 14th meeting. I would like now to turn it back over to Chair Hansen to see if any board member would like to chime in and add on to the Smart Ride information that has already been presented and acted upon. Sincerely, Mike Birnbaum. And that is the only public comment that I have, Chair Hansen.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Guessing that no board members want to comment on that. Thank you, Mike, for your feedback. Always very valuable. And let's go to the next item.
Next item is new business, item 7.1, resolution approving the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. And here to present is Lisa Hines.
Okay, can everybody see that, my PowerPoint?
We can, Lisa. Thank you.
Okay, great. Chair Hansen and members of the board, I would like to present Sac Rt's Public Agency Transportation Plan, PTAS. Scroll down to the next slide. There we go. The purpose of the PTAS is to manage the safety risk and safety hazards for transit agencies. The plan applies to both bus and light rail. The PTAS is a vital tool to link safety through all elements of our operations. Our PTAS applies to all organizational units affecting or affected by Sac Rt bus and light rail. The plan is based upon Safety Management System principles, also known as SMS. These principles are the formal organization-wide approach to managing safety risk and assuring the effectiveness of Sac Rt's safety risk mitigation. There are 4 components to SMS. First, there are policies, procedures, and organizational structures which are established to accomplish the safety objectives. It ensures that management is actively engaged in the oversight of the organization's safety performance. Second is safety risk management, which is the development of processes to help the organization better identify hazards. Once these hazards are identified, Sac Rt must evaluate the safety risk and then institute mitigations to minimize the safety risk. Third is safety assurance. This is where we monitor and measure our safety performance to ensure that Sac Rt meets or exceeds our safety objectives through the collection, analysis, and assessment of data. Fourth is safety promotion, which includes safety training, awareness, and communication that support safety. An important part of ensuring that the PTAS is effective is setting out performance goals and measuring the performance of the safety management system relative to those goals. The performance goals of the Sac Rt PTAS are as follows. Identify internal trends relative to safety and review these trends to monitor safety-related hazards. Reduce accidents, injuries, and safety events. Maintain assigned timeframes for managing safety-related events and their associated corrective actions. Perform required audits and review on a timely basis. Continuously improve safety within the organization's operations, and continuously monitor their safety management system for areas of improvement and implement changes as required. Next, I'd like to share that our safety and security teams are being honored by Active for receiving the Gold Award for light rail security. Sac Rt was selected for this prestigious award by reducing violent and overall crime through the establishment of transit ambassadors and adopt-a-station practices. Our Security Operations Center played an integral part in increasing their monitoring of our system via camera and the public address system. I would like to thank our General Manager, Henry Lee, for his leadership and support, which has made this award possible. We have prepared a short 1-minute video to present at the APTA Awards ceremony coming this March, highlighting our accomplishments. We would like to share that video with you now.
The Sacramento Regional Transit District provides transit services for over 21 million people throughout a 400 square mile service area in California's capital city. At Sac Rt, we place a high priority on putting customers first by implementing best-in-class safety and security initiatives to reduce crime and fare evasion on the transit system. This approach consisted of the implementation of an adopt-a-station program, adding over 1,000 live feed cameras system-wide, monitored 24/7 in real time from Sac Rt's Security Operations Center, introduction of the Transit Ambassador Program, and enforcing a paid fare zone. Additionally, Sac Rt opened the lines of communication by embracing new technology with the Alert Sac Rt reporting app and the installation of a PA system to quickly address nuisance behavior at all light rail stations. As a result, we saw our crime and fare evasion rates significantly drop from 2016 to 2019. We are honored to receive this award from APTA.
And that concludes my presentation.
Mr. Chair, can I just say a couple words?
Yeah, thank you, Lisa, for that great presentation. General Manager?
Yes, I just want to thank Lisa for her, strong leadership, and also the wonderful teamwork from all staff members and community partners, certainly the guidance from the board. The top award from APTA, we very much get that every year. That is very difficult because over 4,000 transit agencies. And this type of award, just one. We should all be proud of what we are doing together, and because of strong leadership of board and extraordinary teamwork of staff and collaboration with the partners in the whole community. So I just want to share my thanks.
Thank you, Henry. Any board members want to comment other than to say congratulations to the team? All right, that's our collective congratulations to the team. Thank you for the hard work on behalf of our riders who are always number one, our employees, and our agency. And we look forward to report out from the APTA Awards. Thanks. Thanks, Lisa. All right, next item.
Actually, Chair Hansen, we're asking you on item 7.1 to adopt the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. So we need a motion and a second for that, please.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
So moved by Hume.
Hume moves.
Second, Harris.
Harris, second. All the H's in favor. All right, let's do a roll call. I'm just kidding.
Dr. Budge?
Call.
Yes.
Director Harris?
Aye.
Director Howell?
Yes.
Director Hume?
Aye.
Director Jennings?
The J's will join the H's and say yes.
Director Kennedy?
Aye.
Director Natoli?
Aye.
Director Chenier?
Aye.
He counts as one of the J's.
Director Cerna?
Aye.
Director Miller?
Nice job, Lisa. I vote, Steve, number 2, votes aye.
And Chair Hansen?
Aye.
Motion passes at 100 votes.
That was a really hard one.
I know. So now we will go on to item 7.2, presentation and workshop on the Sacramento Regional Transit Strategic Plan 2021 to 2025. After the presentation, we will be asking you to adopt the Sacramento Regional Transit Strategic Plan. And here to present is Shelley Valentin.
All right. Good evening, Chair Hansen and members of the board. Let me share my screen real quick. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Thank you. So good evening. I am pleased to introduce to you our draft 5-year strategic plan. This is really the culmination of many months of collaboration and engagement among Sac Rt employees. So tonight's presentation will come to you in 2 parts. First, we will walk you through our strategic planning process and present to you our proposed revised mission vision statement, values, and our guiding principles. We have partnered with TransPro Consulting Service in this endeavor, and joining us tonight is Mark Ash, a transit expert and consultant, who will be doing a presentation in this part. The second part is where you will see how we intend to bring the strategic plan to life. Members of our executive management team will be speaking to you at a high level about Sac Rt's specific strategies and priorities in the immediate future. We are really proud of the strategic plan that we have before you tonight. It expresses our mission, vision, and values in simple and more practical language and seeks to truly reflect who we are today as an organization. This plan puts a lot of emphasis on customer satisfaction and community value through an engaged workforce and our commitment to operational excellence. It also strives to further build upon our performance-based and data-driven approach to delivering on our projects. Move to the next slide. So our planning process really started at last year's summer board retreat, where we summarized our accomplishments and had a good discussion with the board on key priorities. From then, with TransPro, we held a series of employee meetings, from executive and senior management retreats to employee town hall sessions, to represent the voice of our workforce from all levels. We held over 20 internal meetings with various functional areas. You will see in the slide some photos taken from just a few of our sessions spanning several months. The bottom picture in particular shows a very well-attended town hall open to all employees. And in case you were wondering, yes, this was held prior to the pandemic. It was truly inspiring to hear from colleagues and engage in team activities and lively discussions throughout this process. We had the opportunity earlier in the year to meet with the board chair to discuss our planning process and approach. We had intended to conduct a summer strategic planning board retreat, which unfortunately was sidetracked by the pandemic. But last month, we provided the chair and the vice chair with a preview of the draft plan to seek initial feedback before presenting it before you tonight. So we have a lot of ground to cover tonight, so we will go over our slides very quickly, but please stop us anytime if you have any questions or comments. And with that note, I would like to introduce Mark Ash.
Super, Shelley, thank you so very much. And Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the entire board, thanks so much for making time. Much as you can see the passion from Shelley, and certainly the passion that you just saw from Lisa, for the time that we've been able to engage with your management team during this process, I can promise you that same passion for the J's and the H's that you saw earlier is exactly the passion that was brought to this very, very process. The slide that you see in front of you is the framework by which we really think about a strategic planning process, particularly as it relates to organizations in the public sector, where we work with a number of organizations across North America. And it's really through this framework, left to right, that cascades the organization from its senior-most leaders at the board and the general manager level throughout the executive management team, senior leadership, and through frontline employees, so that everyone can truly understand how they contribute to organizational success. So the first part that you see here is aligning around the why. Why is it that we're engaged in this conversation? Why are we here? What is the passion behind this? I'm going to unveil that for you in just a second. The second lever speaks to, once we've aligned around why, what does success look like this year in our pursuit of that why? What are the outcomes that we're trying to be able to produce? With that in place, how will we go about realizing that? The actual work activities, the specific work tactics to cause us to be successful that will allow us to realize our vision of why. And then finally, who? Who is responsible? The teams that are necessary, the KPIs that we'll track, who has ownership, which you'll hear me talk about at the end, who has ownership to be able to deliver on those activities to produce the outcomes that we ultimately care about which the board certainly manages, to the outcomes of the organization rather than the activities of the organization. How do we stay focused on the results we ultimately desire? The next slide really speaks to how this strategically aligns in an organization. So at the top, you see this focus on why and what. That's where our mission, our vision, our organizational values, and our success outcomes, the what. What does success look like in the pursuit of that vision? In the middle of the organization lives the how. These are the work activities that we will purposefully engage in order to be successful as we've defined it. And then our budget funds the work activities that will allow us to be successful. While at the bottom of this, and arguably the most important, is once we understand what success looks like, who are the players that we need on the team? How shall we align them? Who owns these various work activities? And how do we track the KPIs that the board can look at and the general manager and senior management team can look at? Are we putting ourselves in a position to be successful? So after a significant process, which Shelley was sharing, of working with the board, customers, community, employees, the management team is coming back with a revision of their why for the board's consideration. So mission, the reason that we exist, is to move you where you want to go, when you want to go. Our vision, which is the place that we strive to be, is to be a leader in providing mobility options for our community, providing choices for people to be able to navigate. And then there are 6 core values by which we hope to engage with one another in the pursuit of that vision. I won't read them for you, you can see them, but they engage being collaborative in spirit, which is different than consensus. It's thinking about being collaborative in our nature and demonstrating respect, excellence, having a commitment to high performing. So mission and vision are why and the values by which we intend to engage in the pursuit of that vision. As we think about that pursuit, there are 4 guiding pillars by which the organization will focus its attention to deliver and provide that value to the community that we're speaking of. The first is customer satisfaction, making sure that customers have a positive experience in the use of the service that we deliver to people. The second is operational excellence, delivering value in a measurable way, operating with a focus on productivity and efficiency and effectiveness. The third is community value. How do we ensure that folks that are investing in the community see value back from the agency and the service that we provide? And the fourth is employee engagement, ensuring that the workforce is actively engaged in the pursuit of that why, that vision. So I shared the significance of what? Success outcomes. The next slide really speaks to how the management team is thinking about those success outcomes. So I shared with you the 4 pillars. The first is customer satisfaction. And the definition of success is this first year in the pursuit of our strategic plan, we would focus on establishing a baseline of customer satisfaction. So the first year, we're going to build a baseline of customer satisfaction. In the years going forward, we'll be able to quantify improvements in that space. And again, I don't really need to read the balance of these. You can see them. There is a success outcome related to operational excellence, a success outcome related to community value. Again, we'll build a baseline here. And then finally, employee engagement. We actually have a baseline here. So our commitment, our success outcome, if you will, is we're actually going to improve employee engagement from the prior year. So any board, and certainly any high-performing management team, is not simply going to put a stake in the ground of success outcomes and not have a performance scorecard to literally manage on a quarterly basis. Are we putting ourselves in a position to be successful? So you can see here, and in the more detailed strategic plan, there is an organizational performance scorecard which monitors on a quarterly basis, is the organization putting itself in a position to be successful? From that cascades down the various divisional scorecards. So if we think about the what being the outcomes, the performance scorecard is the outputs, while the division scorecards are the inputs which drive that. Let me give an example. Customer satisfaction is the outcome. Improved on-time performance is the output, while vehicles leaving the garage on time would be the input for that activity. So you can see here on this slide, this actually speaks to one of those activities. So we're going to establish a baseline for customer satisfaction. On the right-hand side, there are 24 tactics in total. You can see what will be done quarter by quarter, the description of the project, the team, who owns it. So there's an individual owner to drive this success, and the key activities they'll be engaged in to execute. So in the strategic plan for this first year, there are 24 tactics which look exactly like this. This is the how in the pursuit of that activity. And then finally, that criticality that I spoke to, that culture of ownership, is ensuring that as we embark upon the adoption and consideration by the board of this strategic plan, ensuring that the workforce understands their role, that this isn't something for the general manager or something for the senior management team, that employees throughout the organization need to take ownership of the various work activities and the various KPIs, actively engaged with a culture of ownership in the pursuit of delivering on those success outcomes and the agency's vision and their why. So with that, Shelley, I'll throw it back to you and certainly invite the chairman and vice chair who had already provided comments, but certainly the rest of the board for questions, comments, and observations.
Thank you, Mark.
So Mark.
And Shelley, thank you both. Anything else, Shelley?
Yes, we are now going to move to the next piece unless you have any specific comments to Mark's part of the presentation.
Board members? I can't see you with the screen sharing, so you'll have to speak up. No, okay, next part.
Okay, perfect. So
Thank you,
just to
Mark.
wrap up to our next steps for this initiative, there's so much work ahead of us, but this plan gives us the roadmap and strategic focus for the coming years. We are committed to developing information systems to track our progress, review our results, and develop a more robust tool for data collection and management. And of course, we will continue to engage and seek feedback from our employees and our communities to further improve upon the plan. The plan includes a strategy for community and employee engagement in itself. And 2020 is really our year to operationalize our plan and establish a baseline for many of our KPIs. This plan will only work if we continue to create that culture of accountability and ownership that Mark was alluding to. And this starts from our executive management team, cascading down the rest of our organization. With that note, I would like to move to the second part of our presentation, where you will hear from members of our executive management team to discuss strategic priorities as they relate to this strategic plan. Kicking off our presentation is Deborah Selene.
Thank you, Shelley. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I'm pleased to kick off Sac Rt Strategic Priorities. First, Sac Rt will continue to pursue opportunities beyond transit that elevates the district beyond our traditional role in transportation, such as Wi-Fi bus, food delivery, and other social service assistance that can help address and respond to regional needs. We will also continue to foster and develop innovative public-private partnerships that benefit the region and raise Sac Rt's value as an essential and vital service by understanding the mobility needs and by engaging with the public to build thriving communities. We will work closely with national and regional organizations such as APTA and CTA to advocate and shape transit supportive policies and grow investment in public transit at the local, state, and federal levels. We will continue to develop engagement strategies to execute outreach and interact with government officials and legislative staff on developing measures that impact Sac Rt and support public transit. We will continue to aggressively pursue all grant funding opportunities that will help leverage additional dollars to the region. And we will also work with advocacy groups such as SMART, Sac Moves, and Sac True, community groups, neighborhood associations, and other grassroots forums to continue to build support for public transit initiatives. Next slide, please. The Sac Rt team will engage residents, business, and community leaders about Sac Rt's planning process and how transit shapes our communities. We're planning for year 2 of the Transit Academy to take place in spring 2021, depending on the state of the pandemic. We will look for Academy participants that represent Sacramento's diverse population, which may include a mix of students, business professionals, seniors, persons with disabilities, appointed and elected officials, key stakeholders, and community-minded individuals. All graduates will be recognized as knowledgeable advocates for public transit and be encouraged to engage the community in conversations about their region's mobility needs. We will raise brand awareness by setting actionable goals to be measured through tools such as reach, social shares, retweets, likes, feedback, click-throughs, and new users. We will seek innovative ways to share initiatives such as the use of Facebook Live and other virtual opportunities for public forums and town hall meetings. Now that many are getting comfortable with virtual meeting participation, it can be a game changer to reach a larger audience. As in years past, we will continue to build and foster media relationships through trust and transparency to encourage positive coverage. We will also continue to track media coverage for television, radio, print, and electronic circulation to support goals. We will continue to seek public input regarding our service and initiatives through surveys, engagement, tracking, and responding to feedback. And critical to our success is ensuring we do all of this through equity and inclusion that follows the board-adopted public participation plan. Preliminary reports from a recent rider survey show that the population of Sac Rt's service area is made up of 53% minority and 28% low income, many of whom may not own a car and rely heavily on transit for access to jobs and schools. Next slide, please. As we continue on our journey to improve mobility in the Sacramento region, we will continue to promote and monitor services and programs by seeking feedback to refine services based on performance, need, and funding. We will continue to collaborate with regional transportation partners such as Visa, Gig, Line Bike, and others to provide customer-friendly mobility gateway that creates and manages trips using multimodal transportation and contactless payment options to enhance the customer experience. What we've learned over the past 7 months will result in shifting priorities to rethink and reimagine the role of public transit, as remote work could become a permanent feature in a post-pandemic economy. With fewer cars on the road, congestion and air quality has improved, so we must think outside of the box to demonstrate Sac Rt's value in the region. The safety, health, and well-being of Sac Rt's customers and employees has been and continues to be a top priority, as we know the public is looking for assurances from us that our system is safe to use. Several new studies nationally and internationally, as reported in major media outlets, have notably demonstrated how public transportation virtually does not pose a COVID risk as initially thought. To support this, we will continue to promote Sac Rt's best safety practices, including the importance of wearing a mask or face covering. That concludes my portion of the plan. I will now turn it over to Carmen. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Good evening, everyone. In operations, our strategic focus is on 2 pillars: operational excellence and employee engagement. This strategic plan is our roadmap to improve service delivery in our diverse service modes: light rail, fixed route, community bus services, including Smart Ride microtransit and Sac Rt Go Paratransit services. In all service modes, we will measure and evaluate our staffing needs to ensure on-time operator pullout, on-time performance, and revenue service schedule adherence. The operations team will also evaluate and measure our fleet equipment needs by monitoring key performance indicators, such as vehicle spare ratios, in-service failures, miles between service interruption, and vehicle cleanliness. We will establish new baselines for these KPIs and improve upon them. As for employee engagement, operations represents a majority of our human capital. Therefore, it's critical to listen to the feedback provided by our essential frontline employees. We will work with the safety, HR, and labor relations teams to ensure Sac Rt is a responsive and supportive workplace. Thank you, and now I hand it over to Lisa Hines, Vice President of Security, Safety, and Customer Satisfaction.
Members of the board, When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, Sac Rt immediately jumped into action, implementing numerous safety measures, such as fogging every train and bus daily, implementing a temperature check program, and offering free flu shots to every Sac Rt employee. Additionally, safety has established a baseline of needed personal protective equipment, PPE, and continues to pursue inventory. We at Sac Rt promote a safety-first culture, striving for excellence in the protection of our employees, customers, and our system. Sac Rt is creating an operations control center, also known as an OCC. The OCC will integrate security, customer satisfaction, bus and light rail operations, as well as serve as the command center to oversee operations, train movements, communication, and emergency response. We are working towards the goal of phasing in a train control, supervisory control, and data acquisition system, also known as SCADA. Lastly, Regional Transit Police Services are partnering with the City of Sacramento in a program that assigns a Masters of Social Work intern to ride with a Sac Rt police officer. The pair will focus on keeping the railways safe of debris and encampments, as well as providing resources for the homeless population. That concludes my presentation, and I would like to introduce Laura Hamm.
Thank you, Lisa. Good evening, everyone. In order to support the pillars of operational excellence, customer satisfaction, and community value, we will move forward with a number of crucial capital projects and planning efforts over the next 5 years. We will progress and in some cases complete state of good repair and expansion projects on the light rail system. We will add several new stations and modernize others as funding is secured and development continues in the region. Rail improvements will be integrated with the bus network as we prepare for the implementation of future bus rapid transit and high capacity bus service and transition to a zero emission bus fleet. State of good repair will remain a priority as we modernize our systems and facilities. Our top priority as a district has been the light rail modernization project, which includes 15-minute service to Folsom, station conversions, and 20 new light rail vehicles in the first phase. We will begin placing the new vehicles in service in the summer of 2023. The project is critical to ensure system reliability and access for our customers by modernizing aging infrastructure and beginning the transition to modern low-floor light rail vehicles, which will not only improve the look and feel of our system, but significantly ease passenger boarding. This first phase is an investment of over $190 million into the region. Later phases include full station conversion on the Gold Line and conversion of the Blue and Green Line. Over time, we will replace our current light rail fleet and add expansion vehicles to increase service frequency. The first 20 rail cars are fully funded, and we are currently pursuing funding for another 16 vehicles. We will be back to you later this year with more information on our zero emission vehicle planning and BRT high capacity bus study. In addition, we'll be sharing the planning study we recently completed specific to the Stockton Boulevard corridor and kicking off our long-range plan update. As you have heard from my colleagues tonight, we are focused on efforts to refresh and reboot amidst the challenges of the pandemic. Next slide, please. Next, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Smart Ride. We implemented our pilot back in 2018 with the initial implementation of a Citrus Heights zone, which was expanded to include Antelope and Orangevale, and then 4 other zones. We have now increased to 9 zones and provided over 250,000 trips. Our customers really love this service. Of the 15% of passengers that have provided us with ratings since January of 2020, all ratings were between 4 and 5 on a scale of 1 to 5. We also know that this is the only service that has actually increased ridership above pre-COVID levels. We also have the distinction of operating the largest microtransit service of its kind in the country. We are fortunate that the Sacramento Transportation Authority has agreed to continue the pilot for another 2 years and will provide additional neighborhood shuttle funding to support it. We are continuing to expand and modify zones in order to increase efficiency and reach more destinations. An Elk Grove Zone is in development now, which will meet our goal of implementing all services identified in the original grant. We continue to work creatively with our partners to identify funding to support and continue this important service. And next slide, please. Our partnerships continue to develop with jurisdictions in the district, other transit operators in the region, and regional rail providers. We continue to work toward the annexation of Elk Grove. We have made significant progress towards an annexation agreement and hope annexation will be achieved by no later than early next year. Thank you to the chair and vice chair, as well as Director Hamm and Elk Grove Council Member Nguyen for their participation on the 2x2 committee that is addressing some of the final significant terms of the agreement. West Sacramento is an extremely supportive partner, and we are making headway on an operations and maintenance agreement that could be implemented should Sac Rt begin serving the city. Our relationship with YCTD has also expanded with new service partnerships and discussions regarding a mutual aid agreement that could be used in times of emergency. We are working with the San Joaquin JPA on their Sacramento extension and coordinating our services with regional rail providers throughout our network integration plan and other fare agreements. So with that, that concludes my portion, and I'll hand it back to Shelley Valentin.
Thank you, Laura. So as we all know, the pandemic has brought about many challenges in the way we conduct our day-to-day business. But we also took it as an opportunity to continue and even accelerate our efforts towards business process optimization. Our IT infrastructure and processes were at the forefront of that as we transitioned to virtual offices and paperless transactions without skipping a beat on project delivery and building a set of best practices for the new workforce demands. Despite our challenges, we can't overlook the importance of compliance in our partnership with our regulatory agencies. We continue to prepare for ongoing and upcoming external audits, and staff have been working very hard to ensure successful audits in all areas. We have been able to clean up our standard operating procedures, and we continue to evaluate all aspects of our operations to achieve efficiencies and maximize limited resources. As an example, we have an internal capital projects committee and an information technology advisory council as venues for having these types of robust discussions. We place high priority on projects and initiatives that impact our service to our customers, such as our fare collection process. We are exploring new technology and reaching out to other peer agencies to assess our options and available resources to further improve upon our fare collection system. And of course, our employees are and will remain to be our most important asset. We are very proud of the work of our heroes, moving heroes during this critical time, and we are committed to providing them the resources that they need to deliver an essential service to our community. With all of the uncertainties brought about by the pandemic, job preservation and the safety of our employees remain to be our priority. We value an engaged workforce and open communication throughout the organization. In fact, this is why we strive to have an inclusive strategic planning process. A few months ago, we reported to you the results of our employee survey, and we intend to continue with these types of efforts and discussions in the form of focus groups, additional surveys, and ongoing dialogues with our employees, as well as our union partners. We continue to plan for the future of our workforce through succession planning, training, and professional development opportunities. We acknowledge that this is a difficult time for many of our employees and their families, and we continue to look for more options to provide assistance within available resources. Examples of this include the creation of a social justice committee, online trainings, promotion of the employee assistance program, the board-approved sick leave advance program for those who need it, and having a solid process in place for leaves and other accommodations for reasons related to the pandemic. We can't be prouder of the work of our Sac Rt employees, and we look ahead to the future knowing that we have the right group of people moving the agency and serving our community. So we are close to the end. Now I'd like to turn you over to Brent Berniger for the last piece of this presentation.
Great. Thank you, Shelley. So recently we've been undergoing significant changes at Sac Rt. To do this, we had to re-envision how we work and improve our processes. However, to make these major advancements, we're going to require that we update our facilities and our equipment. As you're aware, we have 5 different administrative campuses spread over 2 blocks. The main administrative campus is about 50 years old, and it's significantly deteriorating. For example, last year we spent about $500,000 on just repairs alone. At the same time, we have 5 different bus locations. 3 of those sites have the required equipment and facilities to do the necessary repairs, and only 2 of the sites are actually not owned by Sac Rt. So you can see we have a strong need there. Without having a building that is properly located and designed, we end up spending a lot of we have spent a lot of time deadheading buses, missing trips, or being late to trips due to traffic congestion. In addition to our bus facilities, we need to construct a second light rail facility that will allow us to dispatch as well as repair these light rail cars. Currently, Sac Rt has only 1 location right now, and it's not ideal. The location of the site having 1 location actually prevents us from having a quick response on the Gold Line. In addition to these facility needs, we also need to electrify our bus fleet. This is important because we're going to need to meet these upcoming zero emission standards. Finally, we're facing the constant need to update our safety processes. This is going to require some capital money. Next slide, please. As with any strategic plan, proper funding levels are critical to meeting these various needs. As you can see, Sac Rt receives some of the lowest local funding levels when compared to our peers. Sac Rt has done everything possible to utilize its existing funds and grant opportunities, but to truly solve our capital needs and expand our service, we need local support. This can be accomplished by continuing to push forward on a measure in 2022. To do this, we will continue to work with the STA as well as your local cities and counties. Should this measure not be an option, the next consideration would be to work with a citizens initiative. In the end, whichever way we go, we envision success. Our mission to provide mobility to the region and to all residents, whether they ride our system or utilize the roads. Now I'd like to turn it over to Henry Lee, Sac Rt's General Manager and CEO, to provide some closing comments.
Hey, thanks, Brad. Let me begin by thanking staff for this comprehensive presentation of the district's strategic plan for the next 5 years. Based on what you get, the board members here, you can see how extensive effort we have put into this process. And certainly, of course, I want to thank the board for your guidance and thoughtful comments that are challenging staff to the new heights all the time. Since we last drafted a strategic plan 5-6 years ago, the district has made a significant and historical turnaround, and we are becoming one of the best-in-class agencies in North America. But we know there's more work and many challenges ahead of us. For example, our facilities need huge upgrade. And I'm confident we are ready to raise to those challenges. And I say firsthand and commitment, dedication, and hard work of our staff performs on a daily basis and extraordinary leadership offered by the board. As we navigate this uncertain time ahead, I believe we are better positioned than most of our peers and emerging from this pandemic successfully and more resilient than ever. Unfortunately, our ridership has not declined as dramatically as many other peer transit agencies during the pandemic. And in fact, ridership on our Smart Ride microtransit service has risen, demonstrating the vital role public transit plays in our communities. And our physical health was reaffirmed by Standard & Poor's Financial Service. Encouragingly, S&P cites that they have a lot of confidence in Sac Rt, specifically expressing that we are faring better than most peers. I'm quoting their words by words. Due to our very strong management and governance policies and practices, along with strong fiscal policies. So now, more than ever, it is vital that we plan for the future and implement a more comprehensive performance-based approach to the way we do business. Through the development of key indicators, the strategic plan allows us to track our progress and ensure we deliver our goals and continue our relentless effort to create a culture of change, culture of ownership, culture of accountability throughout the agency. Again, I want to thank staff for their hard work on this plan and for the board. Thank the board for your valued input. That being said, back to Shelly.
Thank you, Henry and the team. We hope this presentation further demonstrated the spirit of teamwork and collaboration at Sac Rt. Unless there are questions or comments from the board, we respectfully ask that the board adopt Sac Rt's 2021 to 2025 strategic plan.
Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, everyone. Cindy, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do not.
Okay, I'll turn it over to the board for comments and questions. Director Hume, I see your hand up first.
Thank you, Chair. I'd be happy to move the item, and I just want to congratulate staff, one for the that great comprehensive presentation, but also for the actual work product that was included in our staff report. The readability of the strategic plan and digestibility of it in simple terms, I think speaks to the strength of what we're hoping to achieve and how we're hoping to achieve it. And so I think just the clarity that was presented and how it was presented really is something to be recognized and admired. So thank you. I'm happy to move the item.
Thank you, Director Hume. Second from Director Howell. Comments from the board. This is meant to be a workshop, so don't hold back if you want to ask. Thank you, Director Howell. Any other? That was very concise. Any other comments?
It was an incredible
Budge,
presentation. It was an incredible presentation that let us know what we look like over the next 5 years, and I thought they did a great job of projecting that. So again, congratulations to Henry and the staff.
Thank you, Director Jennings. Director Budge, you unmuted. Did you want to speak? Oh, okay. Anyone else? Director Miller, you're off the phone.
Yes, thank you. Strategic planning is so important to me, and I'm just so glad to see this. If you don't know where you're going, any road will do. And so to have a plan and to work the plan is so important. I know we had talk earlier about prioritizing the pillars and this and that, but you know, if you work on 3 of the 4 issues, the other one's going to come right along with it, no matter which one you choose. So very excited. I look forward to celebrating our successes over the next 5 years. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair Miller. Anyone else before I make my comments? I just want to thank the whole team, as you saw from each pillar and from the presentation that Mark did. And if you looked at the depth of the report, the KPIs, the key performance indicators, there's a lot that's going to sort of work together in this plan to bring the agency into sort of its next evolutionary step. And I think it's really a reflection of the excellent management team and the work that has been done over a long period of time by this board and our staff and our writers and other stakeholders to envision what a modern and vibrant transit agency, regional transit, can be. And while there's a lot of talk about roads and embarking, I do think that this is a bold vision. It is an essential vision. And in the end, there is a lot of work to be done to internalize it and implement it. And this is really a challenge to the board that when the staff comes looking for resources and support for this this set of projects, I hope that we can continue to rise to the occasion and make very important, critical and strategic decisions to supply them with the resources and authority they need to be successful on behalf of all of us. But RT is certainly not the RT of 5 years ago. And in 5 years, once this plan has been implemented, I think we'll all be extremely proud of the work that we've done as board members, and the success will be in the ridership improvements and the other benefits. So thank you to the whole team. Thank you, Henry, for leading the organization. Shelley, for all that you've done. And I know we just have an excellent plan. So with that, we'll go to the next item. Oh, we have a motion and a second, Madam Clerk. Yep. Please
Thank
call
you,
the roll.
Chair. Thank you. Director Budge?
Yes.
Director Harris?
Aye.
Director Howell?
Yes.
Director Hume,
Aye.
Director Jennings, Director Cerna,
Aye.
Director Miller,
Aye.
Chair Hansen.
Aye.
With that, the motion carries at 100 votes. The next item is item 8.1, the General Manager's Report.
Mr. Chair, members, board, and the public, I'm going to skip that because of the timing.
I believe there's a written report in the packet or an update. So if people want to refer to that, feel free. Thank you, Mr. General Manager. Any questions for the General Manager during this portion? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, next item.
There actually is a written report for the Capital Corridor Joint Powers Authority meeting and the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority meeting. If either Director Miller or Hume have anything further to add.
Capital Quarter report looks pretty extensive, and so I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
And then, Madam Clerk, I would just note that for the public, that the November 9th meeting of the board was canceled because there wasn't sufficient items for that meeting. So look forward to the December meeting as our next meeting.
Thank you, Chair Hansen. The next item would be any other reports, ideas, or questions from directors.
Anything else from directors? I know we have one closed session item. I see nothing. All right, let's adjourn to closed session. Do you want to read the item, Madam Clerk?
Absolutely. The first item is item 13.1, conference with counsel pursuant to section 54956.9, existing litigation, Zatha Landra versus Sac Rt. I also have a second item listed. Are you taking that off the calendar, Chair Hansen?
Given that the item earlier didn't pass, that item is now moot.
All right. Thank you very much. So everybody will depart the meeting. We'll adjourn to closed session.